Hi y'all, welcome to my channel Getting Dazzy with It, which is all about Daz Studio. Just different videos that I'm going to be making on Daz and also using Photoshop as I complete my 3D artwork. Today we're going to be creating a 5 to 6 year old preset. We're going to use the product Growing Up by Zevo, I believe, and we're going to do the age sets preset. And I'm going to start off with the one that they have, the 5 to 6, and then I'm going to make just a couple of little morphs that I do to get the preset ready to become a unique character. And so I'm just going to do the base things. I'm going to do the head size, some hand and feet sizing, those types of things. And then you can use this preset to create different characters, and you can either take them younger or you can make them older. But this is a good, solid preset to start with for 5 to 6 years old. So I'd like to go ahead and show you. First, we're going to go ahead and use the Growing Up preset. So I'm going to double click on this. Okay, and didn't do a bad job. It definitely got a down size. I mean, it's obviously a big jump from one to the other. The one thing I'm not sure about is the head size, and so I have a chart that I'm going to show you later that shows the different head size in inches for different ages. And so I'm going to go by that, and it's the CDC average. And now I'm going to create a primitive. I'm going to create a sphere. I'm going to use the sphere because it's round, so I can use it to size the head. And because the sphere you can actually do in inches, I can use the inches measurement from the CDC chart and pick the size of the sphere, so I know how to size the head. 5 to 6 year old is about 7 inches, so we're going to go back to Daz and we are going to make the sphere 7 inches, and we'll go from there, and that way we can then get the proper head to body ratio. And the 5 to 6 year old, you are looking at 1/6. The head should be 1/6 of the body size. And so that's what we want to do, is we want to make sure that our head is just 1/6. And I'll show you, I'm going to use more spheres to measure it out later on. And now I'm just going to get the pose so that it's a more natural pose. And I like to do that, and I like to get the legs together too, just so it gives me a better idea of, actually it helps also with the length of the arms, the length of the hands, and you'll see when I do some morphs, that's one of the things I am going to change. I normally change the hand size and the feet size, and sometimes the arm length size, and sometimes the leg length size. Just depends on what I need, what age I'm trying to go for. So now I'm going to move the sphere up so we can get it up to the head and see how we need to resize the head. So I'm going to do that. I need to pull it forward though. Okay, let's move it forward. There we go. That way it covers the chin. And as you can see, the head is bigger than the 7 inches from the chin to the top of the cranium. So let's see. Now I'm checking the currently used morphs that are attached when I did the Growing Up. And so let's go down to that. All right, and I want to find the youth head proportion, because that's a good place to start, right? Try resizing the head and with the youth head proportion. So let's try that. That made a little bit of a difference. Yep. Let's try taking it up a little bit more. As you can tell, this video is recorded in real time, so you all get to watch as I make mistakes, as things work and things don't work. I think that's the process. I think that's part of the learning process, is to see what other people's mistakes are. And I know that I actually learn better from my mistakes and other people's mistakes than when everything they do is perfect. So I'm just including everything. Now, I didn't make the sphere the whole diameter of the head, and I didn't do that on purpose, because in order to do that, it gets it bigger than the 7 inches. And so I just wanted the 7 inches from the chin to the top of the forehead, top of the cranium, rather. And so that's why I know it's not perfect. And that's okay, because honestly, the cranium part, the upper part of the head, is under hair anyways. And so even if it looks a little odd, funny shaped, the hair does cover it. And I found that it was just easier to size things the way I'm sizing it than it was to try to get the perfect thing. So I'm going to go to head morphs, and I'm actually going to go to the cranium morph. I'm typing in the cranium morph up in that search area. And I've also listed the different morphs I've used. Thank you to the people who asked in my last video for the morphs I used when I was creating the tween. So I actually am listing the morphs in the description part of this YouTube video, so you can just click on it. And I'm going to start with the cranium size smaller, and it does do it, but not quite the way I want. That makes them look sorry, I entertain myself when I do this too. So it did definitely get it smaller, but I don't really like that shape that much. So let's go take that back to 0. I'm going to try just using the cranium height. Now, these are base morphs. This actually comes with the Genesis 8 figure. I like the way that looks better, and so I'm going to go with that one. Let's do -60 for it. Yeah, that's a pretty good size. Does a pretty good job. I can work with this. All right. So I think we're going to go, let's get this so that I have it. Now I'm going to go make some more. Oops, I'm going to save it first. Let's save first. I save as scene subsets because that allows me to save all the morphs. It allows me to save any clothes, any hair, anything I have. So I've got everything all in one little subset. It's in a package of its own. And so I always save all my characters as subsets until I'm ready to save a shape preset. But I'll show you how to do that later on as well. Okay. And now what we're going to do is I want to make sure that I actually have this character sized out properly, that you know that she is actually the 6 spheres tall, well, 6 heads tall, but I'm just using the spheres. So I'm going to duplicate that sphere and make 5 more. And I just want to make sure, I'm going to check my chart again to make sure that it is 6. 6 heads. All right, so let's go back. And you would probably laugh at me if you knew how many times I went back and checked the size chart whenever I'm creating a character. So I'm just going to quickly make 6 of these. And that way we can, and what I'll do is that allows me to actually see. I have to give a shout out to Eve because she's the one who brought up the idea of me to use a sphere to help get the head proportion proper. So it was all Eve who started this process. She helped, and Splat and several other people, David and Marco, they all helped me get this whole thing with all the kids started back in, I guess it was in October of last year in 2022 when I started really just, I wanted to be able to create some kid characters that were properly proportioned, that were unique in design, that didn't all look the same, that they didn't look wonky. I know, I'm old, wonky. But anyways, so that's what I'm doing. So we're going to get these. Now with the spheres, you have to bring them forward out of the body. Otherwise, they are not the right size and you're going to have your proportions off. And I always forget that. And then I have to, when I start to size it, I realize, wait, that's not the proper height. So then we can size it. And so just pull them forward. Once you bring them down from the head, you're going to pull them forward a little bit on the Z translate. And so we'll get all of these lined up, and you'll be able to see that we do have that the head is 1/6, and we have, they are 6 heads tall. And this really helps. This actually simplifies the whole creating kids. Once you figure out the size, get the head sized right, it all kind of falls into place. And that's why I like that chart that I have that I can look at. So I can really, it does help with the sizing. And it allows me to get the, correct proportions. Now, I don't stick to the proportions exactly, because there's variations. They have 25%, you've got your middle line 50%, and then you have 75%, and they can be anywhere along that spectrum of the average. That the CDC says that a child should be this height, this weight, and everything. So there's a wide variety, and people mature at different ages, and some people are petite, some people are tall. So you can play around with it, but it's just to help get the proportions close enough, and then I kind of tweak it to make it fit the way I want it to fit. Okay, so now you see we have 6. So her head is 1/6 of her body. So we're good with this one. And so now I want to move on to the next phase of morphing. And I do a lot more morphs on my custom characters, but like I said, this is just I'm just setting up a preset here that I can quickly get to the 5 to 6 year olds. I'm going to save one more time and then move forward. And I do recommend save as often as you want. I have not saved sometimes, worked on characters for hours and then lost a majority of the morphs because I forgot to save, and then DAS crashes or my computer does something weird. So just saving is a good thing. Just remember, save is good. Okay, now we're going to work on the hands and the feet. To me, and this is my personal opinion, the hands are a little bit big and the feet are a little bit big when you pop them down. Well, I guess you wouldn't say pop them down. When you bring them down to the smaller size. So I like to always redo the hands and the feet. Now I'm going to check where the hands should be on these. And this one, on the one age I'm doing, is on the 4th head, so the 4th level. So it'll be the 4th sphere that I want to make visible, so I can see if the hands are about a little bit below half, maybe about half to 3/4. So let's go back and let's bring the hands in closer so I can actually get a correct reading. So let's bring the arms in closer. There we go. And then we're going to get sphere 4, make it visible. And there we go. And so you can see it's a little bit, the hands are a little bit below. I wish that maybe there is a ruler and I just don't know where it is, but I wish there was a ruler. And so let's make sure just the 4th, and it's about halfway. But like in Photoshop, there's a ruler that you can pull down from the top or from the side. It'd be really nice if I could get a ruler right there to measure where the hands are exactly on the sphere. but I'm going to, yeah, see, it's a little bit below the halfway mark, so I want to make them a little smaller. So I'm going to go click my Genesis 8 in the scene tab. Let's go down to hands, and I'm doing shaping. Okay, and quick tip, when everything's grayed out like that, it's look in your search box over on the right hand side, and you will see I still have cranium in there. You've got to get rid of what you would your last search in order to have everything come so you can click on it. So we're going to click on the hands, and then I'm going to just type size in there. That's a quick way, and then we see we have the hand size. And now this product is, I use this product for these morphs for a lot with the hands and the feet shaping, and let's show you where it is. It is by SF Design, and it's Girls for Genesis 8 Female. And I'm going to put the link in the description on YouTube, and a big thank you to the people that asked questions about what morphs did I use in the last video when I was comparing 3D and AI. So I will now list the morphs I use in the description, so it's easier for people to find what I used, because I do have quite a few morphs besides the base ones that come with the Genesis 8 characters. Okay, I just want to show you, here is, that was the regular size that came with the preset, and then here's the hand size when I go down. Now that might be too small to you. You might not like that, so just adjust it the way you want to adjust it. The next thing I'm going to do are the feet, because to me the feet just look really big, and so I'm bringing the feet size. I think that looks much better. I think that just looks more proportionate. That big, small. I love doing that. I'm very easily amused. All right, so now that I've done that, I think I want to do the toes. So let's make the toes shorter and smaller, and just a little bit. And sometimes they're just really minor adjustments, but to me, it's in the details. Everything's in the details. The taking art to the next level is in the small details that we take the time to do. So I try to do the different details I can do to bring the artwork that I make up to the next level. And I'm sitting here looking, I probably should have turned the sphere off, but oh well. It's kind of distracting just having it sit there, but that's okay. So now that I've sized the feet and the hands, let's look. Okay, I think that looks better. Yeah, I like that. Now I think that let's do the ears. I think the ears are kind of big. They look still look a little bit maybe adult sized. All right, so let's move to the ears. And I type in size for everything because that actually gets you quickly to the morphs you need. And the ear size that I'm actually going to be using is also a base morph. It's not a package, so you can just have it if you've got the Genesis 8. And so let's look over. There are the ears. There they are before, and here's when they're smaller. Just a little small detail, but like I said, it's the details that take our art up to the next level. So I think that's a pretty good start to our making a preset that we can then save, that we can use for all our children characters. So let's go ahead and save it as a scene subset one more time, because I always like my scene subset areas to have the most updated version of what I'm doing. And so even if I'm getting ready to save it as a shape preset or something, I like to save it as a subset first. Now I'm going to save it as a shape preset. So it's a shaping preset. And I actually saved mine into the growing up age presets on my dad's 3D library. So I wanted to make sure it was in with the other presets so that I could just quickly get to it. I'm actually going to make another video where I show you where I save my favorite products that are easy to get to. But I'm not going to save it. You normally hit save here to save your preset into wherever folder you want it to do. And so then you would have it, as you can see, mine is in the growing up product. So I have my Kirsten's 5 to 6 year old preset. And I like having it there, and I'll probably do presets for all of them. Although the young teen, which is tween, and the older teen, you really don't have to do much. They're excellent. And even the 9 to 10 is really good. So I might just leave them as the growing up products and just use the 5 to 6 year old. Now I'm going to show you what happens when you make the presets, use the presets, and then add a character. And I'm going to show you the difference between just the growing up product, 5 to 6 year old preset, versus the preset that I just created, so that you can see how it lets you start with a different base. And they aren't very different, they're very subtle differences. I'm going to use Addie Laura, which is a Renderosity product, but I love Addie's characters. So I just wanted to use, so I'm going to go ahead and change her body and add her head. And then I'm going to repeat the process on the other Genesis 8 female. And so we'll do that too. And I just wanted to do this so that you can see that with just small changes, you can actually you can use a preset that one of the artists have made, and then you can make your own preset that is just a little bit different, and how it will help your whole workflow as you are creating 3D characters. Because I like to make mine into an original character, and I think most of us do. We like to use the product, the artist characters as a base, and then do our own morphs and things like that. So now I'm going to use the original growing up age preset, 5 to 6 preset, on the left hand side, and then I'm going to use the preset that I created on the right hand side. And remember, these are both from there's a Laura morph that is in there, the Laura character is in there, and so it's a little different than the generic. It has some of the different facial qualities and all that type of stuff. And now you can see it's very subtle differences, and you can see the head difference probably the most, even though we're pretty far out right now. I'll move in closer in just a moment, but I want to get these two closer together first of all. And you can see the difference in the hand size and the feet size and even the ear size, but the head size are the most noticeable. As we zoom in closer, you can actually see that there is a significant difference between the hand size and the feet size. And you can choose which one you like better. The growing up is presets on the left, and my presets on the right. And you can choose if you like the bigger hands, bigger feet, whatever you want to do. Now I'm going to find a skin texture that I want to put on these two, just so you can kind of see what they look like as a kid. I am going to use the skin texture of one of my favorite character artists, especially for kids, which is Angel Wings. Best, hands down, best kids character artist that I have found. I love all her characters. The textures are top notch. She gets light presets with them that really makes the skin look good. She offers a lot of different options for their skin and their eyes, all the textures. And so I can't recommend her highly enough. She has a store on Renderosity. I'll put her link down below too as well. And so now we're just switching to some of the skin textures. I'm going to do it on both of them so that you can see. But yeah, I love her kid characters. In fact, a lot of my kid characters use hers as part of the character. I use her as a base, or I use them to help shape. All right, let's see what they look like with the texture on it when we render it. See, her skin's just wonderful. But you can see the difference between the two of them now. The head shape is obviously the most significant, and I like the smaller head shape, although I'm thinking that the head on my preset on the right might need to be just a titch bigger. I just want to look at it from farther away and see what I'm thinking. Maybe a little bit. And yes, I do realize the clothes are not correct. And all right, and now I'm looking. If you need to find out what morphs are currently used, you can always select your character in the scene tab and then go down to where now I'm in the shaping, see where it says currently used. That lets you know exactly what morphs are used, which is really helpful. And so I like that. And so now I'm clicking on mine, and I want to look at the head proportion, see if I change that. If I don't think that will work. Let's go down to the cranium. I think the cranium, let's make it -45, so it's a little bigger. Yeah, I think I like that better. It's not a huge difference, but it's enough, just a little teeny difference. And see, that's what I'm saying. I know that we had gotten it pretty well proportioned with the 7-inch, but sometimes when I'm looking at it, I just think that I'd like to tweak it, and so I do. And you can see that I love Angel Wings skin textures. They look so good for kids. Now, I normally use a different skin texture for different eye texture, not skin texture, for the eyes, because I like more realistic eyes. So, and Angel Wings does realistic, but I like really high def, and so I tend to tweak the eyes a lot, and I actually do quite a bit of work on the eyes in Photoshop as well. Let's bring these two. Let's make them kissing cousins right next to each other so that I can really see how they're going. So, you know, a lot of it's preference. So create your preset the way you want to create it. I created the preset the way I want to create it, based on some of the CDC stuff, but then I like to make a few tweaks to it. I like to make the hands a little smaller, the feet a little smaller, and then, of course, the head. I like to make the head a little smaller. So this just gives you the basics of how to create a preset so that you can then make characters you want to make from it. Until next time, have a blessed day.